Welcome back, everybody, to the San Antonio Realty Pros podcast. I'm Steven Randolph. This is our illustrious co-host, David Karras.
Oh, hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
Been a minute. Had to relearn how to talk.
Yeah, I know.
That's why we were down. I had to relearn how to talk.
Yeah. Well, I would just say, like, if we don't make it a point, like an actual, make it a date, it's hard to get me and you in the same room at the same time.
It is.
For more than like 20 minutes.
It is.
But yeah, it's good to be back on the microphones here. We want to give everybody really some quick information, mainly because there's a couple things going on in the market. I think like there's a lot of misconceptions in what's happening. It's difficult for me to call it from day to day or from week to week. We just were looking at some stats earlier. I was looking on Tuesday when I was back in the office, and on Tuesday, I have a 24-hour chart that pulls up in Cibolo MLS, and we had like 398 new listings that hit the market, and on the price change side, it was like 340 or 360 something price changes. So that kind of gives you, and that's in a one-day period.
Yeah,
which is a lot. It's typically our price changes are a lot less. It's probably usually only about a third.
if that. Well, I mean,
It depends on the market, actually.
the past 18 months, it's just been going nuts, and we've been so busy we haven't even had time to carve out to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we were in Austin for a seminar, and while we were there, the Fed raised the rates, and it went up to 7%, and then like the market just like came to like a screeching halt.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can think about it in your mind, you've seen the old Westerns where the guy like pulls back on the reins and the horse is like sliding.
Yep. And then
like,
he goes forward.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. And, everybody just kind of sat back and was like, hey, hold on. Because at that time, I was looking at buying a house for my parents.
Right.
And then the rate went up to 7%. And to get 7%, I had to pay 2 points, which is one point is 1% of the loan.
Yeah.
Right, to get it down, or else it would have been a 7.5% interest rate. So it was going to cost me $7,000 to buy down the rate to 7%. And I'm like, this is just nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy for sure. And you got great credit. So imagine if somebody that has,
if you're an identity thief, I don't have great credit.
Imagine if you have like less than what you would consider stellar credit. Like if you're in the low sixes, man,
But here's the thing:
bad.
7% still not bad.
No, it's not terrible.
It's just we got used to being pampered with 2.25,
Yeah,
2.5, 2.75 for me when I bought my house.
Yep.
And we have short-term memory issues. And in 2007, when I bought my first house, I got a 6.5% interest rate and thought I hit the lottery. So it's just we got used to lower rates.
Yeah.
Right? Well, what brought down the lower rates? Well, the housing market crashed.
Right.
Right? So fraud messed everything up. Then we had economy issues. And so they were bringing it down to try and boost up the economy.
Yeah.
Well, now the economy had just gone nuts, so they're trying to bring it back down. So they raised the rates up, and it slowed stuff down because it was nuts.
Yeah, well, that's how, when if you're into any kind of financial information, or if you understand the way capitalism and all that works, when supply is high, what happens, right?
Price drops.
Price is down because demand is, everybody can get it. And when you have a housing inventory crisis like what we're going through right now, and it plays a lot into, we get a lot of stuff from overseas. And when there's things going on like pandemics and warring countries, it slows the supply of material down that we import, which we should be building a lot more here in America.
Build back better, right?
Right, yeah. You figured at this point in the game, we've been working on this for a while here, trying to get countries that we relied on, like, just kind of put them away, right? We need our stuff built back here. And don't rely on other countries for all the stuff. But when you have that situation going on, and then you're trying to build houses, and then you're trying to get refrigerators and lumbers, all that stuff.
All that
And actually,
lumber
we do
coming from
buy a lot of
overseas.
lumber from overseas. And
So
so
we
when
can't cut down trees in the United States because it's bad for the environment.
yeah. So what happens is we run through these shortages in housing. We just can't build enough homes, and there just aren't enough homes available for people to purchase. So a home becomes very scarce, and the price goes up. When supply is low, price is high. So it's a counterbalance, and it can sometimes take a while for the counterbalance to level out again. But as soon as you start rocking the boat, you know what happens.
Yeah. Well, the problem is nobody in DC understands middle ground, right? They have to shift everything so much that the pendulum has to shift 100% or, the other way.
Yeah.
And instead of gradually doing stuff, right? Maybe every month they raise it up a quarter of a point, right?
Yeah.
And so they can get it to where it's balanced out again. Because right now the interest rates have calmed down. They're about 4 3/4, 5%.
Yeah.
Well, it's like 4 1/4 or so right before COVID. But everybody's still like, oh, interest rates are high. My payment's going to be high. Your payment's going to be higher than what it would have been 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's right in line with what it would have been 3 years ago.
Yeah, as far as the interest rate goes. But what a lot of people are complaining now is like, yeah, the interest rates are coming back a little bit, but the prices are still ridiculous. Well, that's changing rapidly. I just did a price correction, price adjustment on a listing that I've got, just because we're not getting the amount of showings, and that's due to just like the rubber band effect, right? It's kind of like traffic. Well, nothing's happening when you get down there. Nothing's going on,
right?
So we got backed up.
Well, it also has to do with we are now. What I'm telling everybody, we're now back to where we were before COVID. Right, the real estate market has become seasonal because what happened when school started?
Yeah,
what happened the weekend before school started? We had that tax-free weekend, and everybody was out shopping. Nobody was looking at houses, and then school started that Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the district, and then everything kind of slowed down.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened before COVID. It's very cyclical, right? So when school starts, it drops. It drops more when you get to the holidays. Then about springtime. Around spring break, it'll start ticking up, and once school's out, it just goes nuts.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to have. And so people are going to have to get used to the fact that back then, houses would sit on the market for 21 to 30, 35 days.
Yep.
They'd get an offer. That offer would typically be less than list price.
About 10 grand.
They would typically come with a seller paying the title policy. They would typically come with $600 or $700 for a home warranty, and typically would come with asking the seller to provide some assistance towards closing costs.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it used to be. And back then, we were in a seller's market.
Yeah.
We were still in a seller's market. I see posts all the time. We're in a buyer's market. We're in a buyer's market. I talk to my clients. Someone would be like, well, it's a buyer's market, Dave. Let's just go out here and do this. No.
Yeah, we're in a switch right now. We don't know which way it's going to go. We know it's headed backwards.
we are still in a seller's market, statistically speaking, right? And so far, nobody's come around trying to change the definition of a seller's market. They're trying to change the definition of a recession so they can avoid saying we're in a recession.
Right.
But we're in a recession because we've had 2 negative GDPs. Okay, but statistically, a balanced market is 6 months of inventory. A seller's market is 3 months of inventory. We have a little over 2 months of inventory, so statistically, we're still in a seller's market. A buyer's market starts when you have 9 months of inventory. We are 7 months of inventory away from entering the definition of a buyer's market. So stop thinking we're in a buyer's market because we're not.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in a deceleration. Okay. We're not in a decrease. We are in a deceleration. Before COVID, house price appreciation, 3 to 5%, depending on the location of the house. Last year, 26 to 27% in the local area, depending on where you were at. The experts, the average for what the experts are predicting for the rest of this year in 2023, 10%. Still 2 to 3 times higher than what it was pre-COVID, half of what it was last year.
And
we're in a deceleration.
did that come from what's it called? The site.
So it's coming from. So I saw the statistics at the seminar I went to. It was NAR, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. Trying to think of there's like 7 or 8 different organizations that put what their thoughts, their projections would be. Some were lower, some were in the 3 to 5, some were in the 15s, but the average was like 10%.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if we could send them to a specific site or somewhere they could reference the information.
No, it was on a slide. I'd have to go back and look at my.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and see what the source was for the slide, but I think the slide actually just sourced each of those companies that came out with it. I know there was NAR. I think it was realtor.com, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, some of the other big real estate companies. But 10%, we're in a deceleration, not a decline. Okay, so we're slowing down on that appreciation. The appreciation is still happening. There are still multiple offers on houses. I went and go to look at a house that went on the market on a Thursday. I looked at it on a Thursday. They had already had 5 offers on it, and were accepting all offers till Friday at like 5 p.m.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
They had 5. So we're still in a market that's full of activity.
I think there's like a lot of pockets too that people don't understand. With a city the size of San Antonio, even though it's not like one of the largest, it's the 7th largest city in the United States, but even like the metro area of San Antonio and all the surrounding little areas that are pockets, you can go from one side of town to the other and it'll be a completely different market. So you got to understand, like, make sure your agent knows what the area is all about, because you got to be versed in that area. Mm-hmm. That's a rule from Trek now, is like you have to be competent in the area. That's like a hard line rule.
Yeah, well, competency is vague.
Yeah.
It's open for interpretation.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they dealt with you have to be competent in your position, there would be a lot of people that wouldn't be real estate agents.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's a lot of competency issues for sure.
So here's some stats, right, to just show you where we're at as a whole in this area. The past 7 days, 892 homes were added to the market. So over 100 homes were added to the market each day. Okay, 621 sold. 622 went pending. So that's 1,243.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1,243 came off. 892 got added. And then there was 1,386 price changes. Okay, so there's a lot of houses still being added. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of houses are still being sold. This past 7 days, not anything else, just 7 days. In Guadalupe County, 72 houses were added. Okay, so about 10 houses a day in Guadalupe County. 165 houses on the market in Guadalupe County had a price change. 83 sold. So 83 sold, 72 won. So we're still a deficit right there, right? 49 went pending. Okay, so if we just look at what went on the market and what went pending, we're almost 50%, a little bit more than 50%. So 49 to 72. Comal County, which is the fastest growing county in Texas, and one of the fastest growing counties in the United States, 81 houses new to the market. 71 sold, 54 pending, and 118 price changes.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you have almost 1,400 price changes. What's happening? Everybody's still like thinking that it's 6-7 months ago you can list your house for a stupid price, and you're going to get multiple offers and get even more. Hey, it happens, right? And so what's going to happen is we're agents like myself. I put a house on the market. It's been on the market now for about 24 days. I've had about 7 showings, all great feedback, but we haven't gotten an offer.
Yeah.
Right? So we dropped the price down some. We've got to start bracketing, right? And so you're going to see, all right, well, the comps say here. So we adjusted a little bit for the deceleration in the market, but then you're going to have to decelerate some more. And so right now everybody's trying to figure out where to be at. But we're still in a strong market. The good thing about this market, though, is because it has slowed down and some more houses have been added, it gives those that are looking to buy or that were trying to buy when it was nuts, come back. Come back, because you might not be in a multiple offer scenario. You may be able to get some assistance for closing costs if you need it.
Yeah, and like you always say this, you say this a lot, and I've actually kind of adopted it. It's like if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. You're in a point right now in most areas of this market and probably nationwide where you can negotiate a little bit harder than you have been able to in the last 12 months. Actually, a lot harder.
So check this out. So we have an agent. His name's Jorge, new to the team. He has a new build under contract. He has a. Did you hear the story?
Not yet, but you've already got me intrigued, and I'm starting to laugh just because you're like, just this guy.
So he has a house on the market, right? The seller has to sell to be able to buy the new build. So they did a price change on what he had listed, and then he calls up the builder and is like, "Hey, market's changed. We need to lower the price by X amount of dollars." And they did it.
Yeah.
So basically, they lowered his listing, and then they lowered the purchase price. The builders are into, like, the market's changed enough to where the builders are ready to play ball again.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a house, Perry Homes. I'm going to shout out Perry Homes. So my client, we had to go find a new home because the builder we had a contract with sucking bad. And so we found a new home with Perry Homes. And my client's walking around the house and it was talking about, well, I've got to take the carpet out and stuff. And they're like, well, why? My client's like, hey, my son's got asthma really bad. I can't have carpet in the house.
Yeah.
So they just like, hey, well, let me just see if we can get it taken care of for you. They came back and were like, hey, we'll split it 50-50. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen 6 months ago. They would have to be you. We'll take it out, but it costs you $100,000.
Yeah, but they would have instantly canceled the contract and sold it for more money.
Right?
They would.
So, I mean, it's just that's
not saying Perry. I'm just saying Perry. We're sorry that
Perry.
They're great.
Like so, here's Perry Homes, right? Another shout out to Perry Homes. 2 years ago, I put a house on the market in a Perry Homes community. That house was 3 years old, so no warranty.
Right.
The buyer came in, got an inspection, asked for a couple of things. My client said, let me just see if Perry take care of it. He submitted the work order request through Perry Homes, and Perry Homes came over and took care of everything.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's customer service right
there.
Yeah.
When I just closed a new build with Perry over in Vintage Oaks for some clients of mine early this year, and their construction manager, or he's not the construction manager, he's like the guy, I can't remember the name of the title, but he's the guy that basically does all the requests in the final portion of the build, the detail work, the follow-up stuff, all the client customer care stuff. And, dude, the guy is he was awesome. And he's actually become friends with my buyers because he's, they're always like asking him like really nice things like, hey, can you point us in what direction? He's like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. Yeah. And it ain't even really stuff that he has to take care of.
Your client's a pretty good guy too. So
yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So and it, that kind of customer service for builders, I don't want to get off on a builder rant, but I mean, I talked to a builder day before yesterday, and dude, he said they are experiencing like super low levels of sales, and only one salesperson out of the whole nation that sells Chesmar products sold 9 houses, and it was like a condo style product where it was just really easy, low price, and he's like, it's just crazy. They've had a $20,000 reduction in base price across their models, which is $20K is nothing to play with. Like that's a lot, you know. So yeah, we are seeing some turbulence, and I would just tell people, don't just think what's going on. Reach out to a professional, call David, or send us a message through any kind of DM that we have on our Facebook page, through YouTube, whatever. Reach out to us. Our information's on the website.
Well, to get back to kind of what we were talking about, like if you're looking at buying a house and you're still like, well, the interest rates are kind of high, 4.5 or whatever, roll the dice. Yeah. Right. You can always refinance if in 2 years the interest rates drop, you can refinance.
Yeah.
Right. You're locking in today's price before it goes up. Right. And then here's the deal. If you look at the statistics, every time the R word is dropped, interest rates drop as well. Yeah. Every time. So right now, our dear leader is trying to find a way to redefine recession so that we're not in a recession. I guess maybe it's when you have 4 months or 4 quarters of decline, then you're in a recession versus 2. I don't know. But at some point, they're going to have to say we're in a recession.
Yeah.
Inflation is nuts. The economy's in shambles right now. And right now, when do they say the best time to buy is? When it's volatile, right?
Yeah, when the waters are choppy.
So like if I have money right now, I'd be buying houses.
Yeah, well, fear sells most things, right? So it's like
I know. Ask the toilet paper from 2020.
Right. It's like I'm afraid that I'm not going to get a good deal, so I go out and just snag something up. Yeah. The FOMO's real for sure.
This is the time. See, like I was talking to somebody the other day, and I'm like, this is where I wanted. This is my place.
Yeah.
Right. And in a market like this, because I'm a certified negotiation expert. I'm a real estate negotiation expert. I got all these designations and stuff like that. And for the past 2 years, I haven't been able to do it. Everybody's like, Dave, what do you think on price? Well, we're in a multiple offer. What's your
Yeah, how much can you spend? I mean, that's really where we're at.
Right. So
I mean, what's your top dollar? Because that's what it's going to take. And if your top dollar is not enough, then guess what? It ain't the house for you.
Yep. And so I felt bad because basically I was just putting contracts together the past 2 years, but now I can work on negotiations. Now I can start to get strategic. Now I can start to get into people's minds and be like, okay, here's where we are at. I can go do my research and be like, hey, they bought this house 3 years ago for this. Theoretically, the comps say that the house is worth this, so they should have. I can tell if they bought it conventional, FHA, VA, whatever, so I can have an idea of what they put down.
Yeah.
And so I can determine how much equity they have. And then I can see how long they've been on the market for, take that time on market, take their equity, take the comps, figure out a strategic point to where I think that they would have a successful entry point to try and negotiate a price. Like I showed a house that was 1.999 million. And I was like, man, I could probably get this house for about, 1.8 to maybe 1.8. Guess what? And my client's like, hey, if you could get it for 1.8, I'd buy it now.
Right? You made a mistake, sir.
I'm like,
sign the paperwork.
I was like, let's put it together. He's like, we'll just wait and see what happens.
So you called his bluff, and he's like, yo, I ain't ready.
Well, let's check it out. About 6 or 7 days after I showed the property, I got a little notice from showing time. They dropped the price to 1.7.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so
that's hilarious.
So like $1 below what I was like, I could probably get it for.
Right.
So now I know, and I was like, hey, I think we could probably get it for, let's come in at 1.7.
Yeah.
Right. See if we can save you $300,000 in a matter of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the one thing to keep in mind though is the market's changed, but it's still not a buyer's market. So you have to still have reasonable expectations.
Yeah, I agree.
You cannot come in and start demanding all kinds of stuff because then you're going to lose everything. So
you get a little excited in the beginning. It's like, calm down.
Yeah, you're like, well, here's my 18-page inspection report. I want you to fix all of it.
Yeah, that's always tough. I think for me, that's a tough position for the agent to be in. I mean, our job obviously is to be a fiduciary to the buyer or the seller. And in that process, there's some things that everybody has moral and ethical boundaries, right? Mm-hmm. You and I have different things that we will and will not do. And I'll tell people straight out, like, hey, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. And sometimes buyers and sellers can step the line because they just want to see how far they can get, and that's fine. But we as professionals have to say, hey, man, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. That's, to me, it's a little bit.
I've done that. I had a different client, that we looked at a house, and it was on the market one day, and it was listed for 1.6. The people selling it purchased it about 18 months ago for 1.1. Mm-hmm. We didn't see any differences in photos. They said that somewhere around that house they dropped $100,000, but I don't know where they put that $100,000. And, my client wanted to come in very, very, very low. And I was like, I was like, it's day one. And I reversed it. I was like, if you were listening to this and it was day one and we got your offer that you want to submit, I would tell you no. I'm like, why would we lose this amount of money on
first
the first
day on the market? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty common too.
I was like, what I would do is, because you're concerned about overpaying, is let's put it under contract for a price and put the appraisal requirement in there that the house has to appraise for that dollar amount. Like it has to appraise for the full price, right?
Right, yeah.
And if it doesn't, then it gives us the right to renegotiate or get out of the contract.
Right.
Either way, it protects you from overpaying. We're in a market now that you could do that. Didn't want to do that. Wanted to wait, 30 days and just let it sit on, because the average days on market for houses that sold was about 75 or so.
Yeah.
So we talked and we're like, let's just wait 30 days and see what happens. Well, 2 weeks goes by and the house is under contract. Yeah. And he calls me and he's like, hey, man, he's like, the house is under contract. What can we do? Nothing. Just sit and wait and see if it falls out.
Yeah. Like hopefully something in the inspection pops up and they cancel the contract or something.
Yeah. But the point is if you find something that you want, put it under contract, build in some security to make sure that you don't overpay for that property.
Right.
Because if we put it under contract for like 1.5 and it appraised for 1.2, then you have the opportunity to be like, hey, I'm out, or we're going to come down to 1.2.
Right.
I'm not paying more than what the market value is for this house.
Yeah.
And then once they have that appraisal, I mean, it's kind of hard to refute an appraisal, right? And so then that seller can be like, no, I'm still going to try and see if I can get it, and appreciate your plan and good luck in the future. But you lose that opportunity if you don't listen to your real estate agent and take their advice. And then you might see that house that you really wanted is now under contract. Somebody else is living in your home because you want to try and see how low you could go up front versus trying to take it in the back end when you had more leverage. When you're up front, you don't have a lot of leverage. When you have that appraisal and it's lower, you have a lot of leverage, and then you can play with that.
Yeah, and you've already taken the deal 20-something days down the road. I mean,
they're ready to go. They're probably already starting to pack.
Nobody wants – listen, nobody wants to cancel a contract or restart the whole process again like 20-something days in. Like it's a big blow to have bad news come in around that time frame when the appraisal stuff – that's tough. Yeah. Nobody wants to start all over again.
No, because they've already got a place like lined up probably. Mm-hmm. And if they have a lot of equity to absorb that loss, it'd be like, well, it sucks, but hey, at least we've got that sold and we can get into this new house.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't listen to your real estate agent up front, then you're going to end up potentially upset and frustrated that you didn't get what you wanted. Mm-hmm. But if you listen to your real estate agent, we could have done something in the back. Right? If it didn't work out, what are you out? You're out the inspection and the appraisal, right? But then you didn't overpay by $100,000.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so
that's $600 or $700 is a lot cheaper.
Still, yeah, I mean, it still stings, right? But not like $100,000.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter what the price point is. If you feel that it's high, but you want that house, right now you have the opportunity to get a contract submitted to where you have that appraisal requirement guarantee in there, to where you're protected, to where it has to at least appraise for what you're financing or the whole thing. Yeah. 8-9 months ago, you were just like, everybody's like, oh, that's your right to terminate. Dude,
I don't need that.
I don't need that. Yeah, no,
we're waiving the full appraisal.
You submitted an offer with an appraisal requirement. Oh, let me just put your offer
on the bottom
over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and it's just. Now you have that opportunity to use that negotiating skill. Yeah. Right? Because now it's FOMO, right? It's FOMO, fear of missing out. Right? You have that seller's going to have the fear of missing out on closing that deal and missing out on the opportunity to purchase their new house when that appraisal comes in lower, right? And so you have that negotiate. I love FOMO. I FOMO this out of stuff.
Yeah.
Because like I bought a little tangent. So I went to the new Braunfels Home and Garden Show or Hot Tub Show or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah, I know this story. This is funny.
I was like, you know what? I was like, I want to go get a swim spa. My daughter wants to do swimming. It can give me some extra. I'm trying to get back into shape. I'm down 21 pounds now. So I got 29 more to go. So I'm almost halfway there. Yes, thank you. Where's my Twinkie, right? As I say this, as I drink a Sprite, right? I want some royalties, Coke. But I went in there on the last day of the show. Whatever they didn't sell, they were going to have to take back up to, I think it was Wisconsin or something. So I'm like, all right.
So let me get my gloves out.
I'm about to FOMO these people and see if it works.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm going there. I find one. I ask some questions and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you know what? I was like, I think it's priced a little bit high. And I was like, I can get a prescription from my wife can get a prescription from her doctor for this as a medical device for her ailments. So I was like, I don't want to pay sales tax now. And when I don't have to, right? And so I let them know I wanted it.
But I just wasn't ready to pull a trigger.
Pull out, right? So long story short, we go back and forth a couple times. I'm on the phone with my wife. One time I wasn't even on the phone with my wife.
Right. It's all blank. It's
like over here, I'm just having a little conversation. Yep. So I was Hollywooding it. Needless to say, I got a $48,000 swim spa. Out the door, taxes included, some free stuff for $27,000.
And you ain't even really going to pay that much for it, honestly.
And I'm not, because it's a medical device.
Yeah.
So I can write that on my taxes.
Yep.
Right? And I still have the receipt, and because they still charge me sales tax. They just dropped it even more to absorb the sales tax. So I'm still going to get my sales tax money back.
Yeah. Well, you better watch out. Those 86,000 new IRS agents might come knocking on your door.
That's why I got to keep it below 400,000.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But I FOMO'd them, right? If they didn't sell it, they're going to have to take it back up.
Yeah.
Now I'm really pissed off because I know they still made money, and they were going to try and charge me $48,000 for something I got for 27 with taxes and some free upgrades. The markup on those things is just nuts.
It is high.
I'm in the wrong business. I just need to sell 2 swim spas a year, and I can make what I make in real estate.
Yeah, no kidding.
But you can take the reason why I say that is they were afraid of not getting that sale.
Yeah.
They did what they needed to get that sale. So you listen to your real estate agent. You can negotiate some stuff up front. Wait for the back end if we need to, because those sellers are going to be afraid of having to take their stuff back to Wisconsin or wherever, right? And so just listen to your advisors, right? We're real estate advisors for a reason. We're going to give you our advice for you to make an informed decision. Ultimately, the decision is yours, but
yeah, when we see hundreds of deals, I mean, we worked plenty of deals to know there's not every deal is the same, and I've only had a couple of easy ones where it was just kind of like, oh, it wasn't even hard at all. Mm-hmm. So you just gotta, like, if you're gonna trust in an agent, you just need to fully trust them and understand that, like, we're not doing anything in our best interest. Our job is to do it in your best interest. We don't care what our personal feelings are. If I think you're gonna buy a $200,000 house and it's a great deal and you're gonna make $100,000 when you sell it after you flip it, like, I'm going to say, yeah, it's a good deal. Right. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, you shouldn't buy that. I'm going to buy it myself. No, I want you to make the money. So, I mean, we get paid either way.
Well, if you buy a house every 5 years, right, theoretically, that's once every 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? In 3 years, I've put my hands on probably 400 houses.
Yeah. Yep.
Open up 400 doors. So I probably have a little bit more experience than somebody that buys a house once every 3 years, right? And theoretically, everybody,
Yeah.
So and so it's just, we do more, we see more,
for sure,
we're in the business. So just, don't be an HGTV ranger.
There you go.
But I think that's probably enough. Like, we're in a deceleration, not a decline. Interest rates are stabilizing. pretty close to where they were pre-COVID. Buy a house if you want to buy a house. There's some inventory out there. You may still be in a multiple offer scenario, but there's enough inventory out there. Look on the days on market. If you don't want to get in a multiple offer scenario, look for something that's been on the market for 2 weeks. Right? There's all kinds of stuff. Listen to your real estate advisor. Okay? We should all have our finger on the pulse to know what's going on. Ask the questions. If you don't have one and you need a realtor, ask the questions. How long have you been in real estate?
Yeah, that's important.
How many houses do you sell?
That's important.
What kind of designations do you have?
Right? It can be important. I think.
Well, if you've been in real estate for 5 years, you don't have any designations. That means you're a hobbyist.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think a lot of people have a misconception that, realtors are all built the same. They're really not, because you got most agents that you'll see that the average agent, they do about 4 or 5 deals a year, right? That's the number. And if you look at, we put this out the other day, if you look at MLS wide, there's about 1,590 or offices.
Companies. There's 1,498, I think.
So almost 1,500 offices. We're currently ranked without all the data.
126.
120, yeah, 6.
I think is what.
And that's with
with like three producing
agents that are actually doing deals. I mean, that, to me, that says a lot. And a lot of those companies in there that are listed, that are in the top percentage on deals, they are rebate brokers that do like listings for builders and stuff like that. So they have hundreds of listings every year.
Fake listings.
And they're not doing anything, right? So those aren't, I would probably take the top 1% and go through that and scrub that list pretty heavily, and you'd probably get half of it would be.
Well, I took out people with teams where I'm at, and I took out people with teams, and I took out people that work specifically. You do a lot of work with builders. Yeah. And I went from 101 to like 37.
Yeah, and that's freaking
out of 15,000 realtors.
Yeah, so they're not all agents aren't the same. So don't just think that you need to talk to one agent. If you're going to talk to one agent, you better do your research on them.
Right.
If you're gonna interview agents, talk to at least 3, because you want to sit down with those people and find out what their attitude is. Find out all the information that you can on them, because we're not all the same. And
so are they taking classes? What kind of classes are they taking? How often are they taking classes? Are they in coaching? Right. I spend almost $15,000 a year in coaching. Yeah. Right. The normal full-time realtor does 4 to 6 transactions a year. I have 43 closed or pending right now. Yeah. Okay. So I'm on pace. I mean, the market kind of tanked a little bit, but I'm on pace to do at least 50, which is 10 times the amount of a normal full-time agent.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? So why is that? It's because I know what I'm doing. Yep. Not that other people don't know what they're doing. It's just I'm not a hobbyist. I'm in the office 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Sometimes I'm trying to kick it down to 6. I'm working 10 to 12 hours a day because this is my career. It's not my hobby.
Right. So you're in your starting your 6th year? Or
I'm in my 5th year.
You're in your 5th year.
Yeah, March would be my 6th year.
Yeah, I just finished August 31st. I redid my license for another 2 years, but I'm studying right now for my broker's exam. So that's kind of what my next step is. There you go.
Oh wait, wrong one. So I can't have nice things. There you go. Yeah, that's mine. I can't read. I was trying to do the applause for it.
It's upside down.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the applause is this yellow one.
Yeah, thanks.
Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But you're going to become the broker of the company too.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. And we're also both working on, since it's kind of the last quarter of the year and we're having like this market shift, I'm basically starting my rebranding all over again. I'm doing a completely new work schedule. I'm just going to try to reinvent, because after 4 years, right? This year I did a little bit more so far than I did my first year, which I did. This is crazy. 23 or I don't know. I would say 23 deals my first year, a little over $4 million. I'm at 11 deals this year, and I'm already over the $4 million because the prices have been so high, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of weird, like, and all of my stuff really has been just listings this year. I haven't really been trying to work with buyers because with the market that we were in, I was like, I'm not going to focus any of my energy on that. I really want to, and everybody says in real estate, like if you want to list or you have to list to last. So I've just been kind of primarily working on, listings and stuff like that. But I'm excited for like what's going to happen in the next year, just because we are in that shift and it's uncharted territory for me. I haven't seen this type of market. I've been through a seller's market, a buyer's market, and a flat-ish kind of market. But
you came in at this market.
Yeah, but it was kind of cooling off. Like it was already changed pretty much when I started actually selling.
Yeah, because you came in in August, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited for the future. So we're doing a lot of stuff with the company, and I'm just looking forward to it. But we'll wrap this up. I think one thing that I want you guys to remember is if you want to get a hold of us, you can post in comments wherever we're live at. You can shoot us a private message on Facebook, and go to our website, it's KarisRandolph.com. You can send us a message there, whatever you want to do. But thanks for stopping by. Please make sure you guys share these live videos and subscribe to our channels. And
hit the little bell.
Yeah,
like and subscribe.
Yeah, and so
look
like,
brother up.
If you want to ask us questions, you can post it. We'll answer it on the show. If you want to call in sometime, we'll try to do that too. But we appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.